All right, welcome back. We're here to talk a little bit more about Barking Up the Right Tree, my dad's new book that just came out. I asked last time, why is it called Barking Up the Right Tree? And we covered a lot of ground. And I'm wondering whether this time we could have a little more of a shorter, more singular answer. So if you had to pick one element to be the right tree, what would that one element be?
Oh God, that would be so difficult, Jamie.
I know, it's the hard-hitting question. No softballs here.
I guess, okay, I'll stick to the present. It's for people to train dogs using words and never being aversive in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll stick to the moment, it's the person and the dog. And that's what I would start off showing them. There are other issues in development and breeding, but we'll leave those.
We'll leave those. We can talk about those another time.
It is the bulk of the book. It's how, and the elephant in the room, the interloper has always been aversive punishment.
Yeah.
And it's that is not necessary. It's not necessary to be aversive when you're punishing the dog in the scientific sense of reducing targeted undesirable behaviors and eliminating them.
Yeah. I think it's so funny because as we talked about in our last conversation, you were originally going to call this Barking Up the Wrong Tree.
I know.
And in my mind, the wrong tree is aversive punishment.
Yes.
Is really punishment in general and trying to stop unwanted behavior. And here when we're talking about the right tree, you're saying the right tree is never using aversives.
Yeah.
And how it seems like the right tree is positive dog training in the sense of focusing on what you want your dog to do and getting your dog to do that.
Focusing on it meaning, you notice that the dog is doing it most of the time, and you say thank you. You praise.
Yeah.
That we've got to bring back our voice to dog training, giving clear instructions so the dog knows what to do, and saying thank you with our voice.
Right.
We can train up something as like a mega secondary reinforcer, like I do with the tug toy, which is sometimes more powerful than our voice, but it's nowhere near as flexible.
Yeah.
See, when we say good dog, we can say it in 100 different ways. And why is that important? Because the dog's sit appears in 100 different ways, and we can reflect that with our feedback.
How would you feel about this definition of the right tree? Reinforcing desirable behavior.
Yeah.
As opposed to the wrong tree would be punishing undesirable behavior. Yeah?
Absolutely, Jamie.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a nice way of asking a question. You say, how do you feel about this answer? I would say exactly that.
But do you approve? Does that get your stamp of approval?
I totally approve, because I view any correction or punishment as an advertisement that I failed in teaching and training. It's like no good you complaining what your kids do when they're at college. You failed.
Yeah.
You failed to train them when you're out of sight, when left at home alone or, after college. And when we think of the process of reward-based training and punishment training, it makes so much sense, because punishment-based training, when done correctly, is very hard to do completely, because the more you punish, the behavior decreases in frequency until it becomes very difficult now to catch the dog in the act, saying now he's only doing it when you're away at home. Oh dear. That, of course, was a cause of the punishment. The dog learned don't do it when the owner's around, but you can do it when you're off leash and not at home.
Yeah.
So it becomes very difficult to complete the process. And so then people say, oh, but it's so, random. I never know when he's going to misbehave. On the other hand, we do know when the dog's going to behave, because when he does it the way we like and we praise, the behavior gets more and more frequent. It increases in frequency till it squeezes out all the dog's improvisations and all the stuff that we say behavior problems or he's misbehaving.
Right.
And so it just becomes easier and easier. Because now you're walking and every time you stop, your dog sits most of the time. So only very occasionally do you have to go, thank you, and to get the dog to sit.
Right.
So they are very opposed in their process. And the way to go, the place to put your money is on reward training. It wins hands down every time.
Yeah. Yeah, in our last conversation, we were talking a little bit about the subtitle. Now, you weren't 100% sure about positive dog training, but I wonder, it seems like you really like the phrase reward training, and that, like...
Because that's what we're doing. That's the mechanics of
Yeah.
it. We're using rewards. We're using praise.
Right.
Whereas positive is a very, as I explain in the book, positive punishment. What's that?
Yeah, we're not talking about that at all today.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's why I don't like the word positive, because
Right.
it is very ambiguous, as is the word negative.
Yeah.
And I like to be very precise. I use praise predominantly.
Yeah.
I use life rewards, and I use food rewards to start dogs off. So
Yeah.
I like reward-based training. The word that really needs to be defined, though, is training. What is it?
Right.
And
But subtitles are not the place
we'll
to define
save that
anything.
for
Yeah.
another thing.
Did you pitch the science and practice of reward-based training to the publisher?
I did, and we talked about it a lot. Well, actually, to the senior editor, we talked about the subtitle a lot.
Right.
Because I was having a lot of difficulty with the ambiguousness of positive
Did they think
and training.
positive was going to read better to the general population than reward-based?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with them there,
Right.
that everyone knows what we mean if we say positive dog training.
Yeah.
In the book, though, I question every aspect of it. Does it work? How quickly does it work? If it does work, how complicated is it for the owners?
Right.
So I look at the pros and cons of different reward-based training techniques. So there's
Yeah.
not just one. So with positive dog training, it's like one. It just means we're being nice in the teaching process,
Right.
I think, which people obviously want. And I want too.
Yeah. But if we were to come up with the shortest possible answer for what the right tree is, seems like reward-based training might be
Reward-based training
3 words. It's pretty good.
rocks.
Okay.
Wins hands down.
Yeah.
So reward-based training.
Reward-based
rock.
training.
Now that would have been cool, barking up the right tree. Hey, back to the press. I've got it. Reward-based training rocks.
Well, I think
Exclamation mark.
I think the science and practice of reward-based training could have worked. You know,
Yeah.
like the subtitle's supposed to be kind of like less colorful.
Yeah.
Reward-based training rocks. That could have been the main title. But I love the title that you ended up with, and I hope you do too.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Because there's many. It's training is a forest. For every trainer, you have a different technique.
Yeah.
So there's
Right.
a lot of trees out there, man, and it's up to owners to work out, well, what tree should I let my dog bark up? You
Yeah.
know, because we're in charge of his, quality of life,
Yeah.
and ours too. I've seen a lot of owners doing stuff that I could see in their eye they didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
But why are they doing it? They're
Okay.
following.
Well, let's not get off. Let's not bark up any wrong trees
No, I don't want to be like
anymore.
that. You
There's a
have
nice
to-
little talk we just had here. I think we should wrap it up there.
Jamie, my brain isn't infinity forest.
I know, which is why I'm here to
I
try
know.
and
Good.
curate the infinity
Well,
forest.
just answer the questions before you ask them, and then I can agree and extemporaneous.
It's tempting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Dad.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about dog training and behavior, make sure you visit DunbarAcademy.com to check out our selection of courses, many of which are completely free. If you'd rather watch more of our videos here on YouTube, just click the links to the right. And if you want to follow us on social media, everything you need is directly below. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications.